From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Looks like we've got mostly cloudy skies now. 62 degrees in Florissant, 61 in St. Peters, 62 downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The genuine, the original. Now the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
You know, we actually asked them if they would make this trade right before the Gashouse Gang. I don't know if anybody realized that, but it was set up that way. No, I'm just kidding. With Chris Ranji, Bernie Miklas, I'm Tom Ackerman, Matt Pajeski, Frank Ladd, our producers. It is the Gashouse Gang, and Nolan Arenado has been traded to the Diamondbacks. We will discuss every little piece of this deal until we are finished. You have come to the right place. There's no other place to turn than the Gashouse Gang for moments like these. How we doing? Bernie, let's get before we do anything, your initial reaction to Nolan Arenado. If it seems like we've been talking about it for 2 years, that's because we have.
Hallelujah! No, and that's not meant as any kind of swipe at Nolan Arenado, but this thing has just been hanging over the franchise for going into year number 2, and we thought he was gone to Houston. Then he said no, and then it's been the market for him hadn't materialized all that much, if at all. But I guess the Bregman thing, the Alex Bregman signing with the Cubs, it took the Diamondbacks out of – they thought they had a small chance to maybe get Bregman when in reality they didn't. So I guess they pivoted right away to Arenado, and that's good for them if they wanted him, and he'll help them defensively, leadership, all that stuff. And my understanding, as you all know, and I'll shut up after this, the Cardinals had to give up quite a bit of money to make this deal go, more than I thought, quite frankly, which I think is a tip of the cap to ownership for willing to pay so much of this deal off to make it happen. So Jack Martinez, they got him. He's an 8th-round draft pick last year. All I know about him, and I did some quick research, he's got a big arm and at Arizona State, big strikeout totals, but he's wild and, he's got established command. In other words, he's a young, raw pitcher, but he does have some talent.
Jack is 6'4", 215. I actually went through some video of him and posted it on my Twitter page, Ackerman1120, and found out through that video that his name is pronounced Martinez. Jack Martinez, the 8th round
pick. Went to high school with the Martinez.
Did you?
Yeah.
Out of Arizona State, as Bernie said, he does have some strikeout numbers that do get your attention. 110 strikeouts in 77 innings is nothing to sniff at, especially at that level. Does have an ERA in the 5s, but I don't think the Cardinals care about that. They just want to look and see what they can do with the big fella, and it looks like they're stacking some big right-handers, Chris Ranji, as they give up a lot of money. But this was expected.
Yeah,
we knew they were going to do that.
Here's the thing about the money, and there are all kinds of different reports out there. I've seen a few people say it's $31 million the Cardinals are going to owe. I've seen 26. I've seen 26 plus the 6 deferred to like 2040 or something like that. I don't even care about however much money it is. The point is that the Cardinals wanted to make this deal happen. They were aggressive about it. It seems as aggressive as the Diamondbacks were. And as much as I appreciate the career of Arenado, what he did do here when they first made the deal and brought him to St. Louis, I mean, he was really good here. He was as good as you would expect him to be, but it was time to move forward from him. It was really time to move forward from him prior to last year, just because of the place of the organization where they are now. So the fact they were able to get this done, were aggressive about the kind of money they were willing to send in order to get it done, I think that has to be commended. And it shows you, it's just another example of the direction of the organization, where they are trying to go and how serious they are about, I don't know if starting over is the right word, guys, but it's something like that. It's something like starting fresh. And I think this is just an example of that.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Go ahead, Bernie. Yeah. Bernie, go ahead.
No, I think, if I had to pick one, I would say $26 million would be the correct figure, because the Rockies are covering $5 million of what is still owed to Arenado. So I would go with $26 million. But to your point, Ranj, Does it really matter? The
No.
point is, the ownership stepped up and got this done, and the ownership provided $28 million total to make the Sonny Gray and the Wilson Contreras deals work as part of getting them to Boston. Now you add $26 million in the Arenado deal. That's $54 million that ownership said, okay, fine, just get the deals done. Here you go. And again, I know it's fashionable to condemn everything that Cardinals owners do, but if you're going to rebuild and you need to give opportunities to young players and you need to acquire prospects, there's a price involved in that too. You're not going to get it all for nothing. To accelerate this rebuild, which is overdue and unnecessary, a big contribution from ownership is really part of what makes that go. So I see no reason to, get all snotty and stupid to be negative just to be negative. My brain doesn't work that way.
No, and I think that this is just the way that it is, though. With the Cardinals, everything from, not every fan, but a lot of the fan base is negative and skeptical, and they're just tired, and they just want everything to go away and start over and get this thing done, and, let's be good. And they don't want to hear about the process anymore. They just want to see results, and I understand that. I am very curious what's next. And certainly this move creates a lot of different things. Now you have an opening at third base, which you would assume goes to Nolan Gorman. You would assume. Brendan Donovan, you would assume, is going to be traded next. There was hot pursuit for a while from the San Francisco Giants, the Seattle Mariners, that seemed to cool off. Jeff Passan, of course, was tweeting earlier. Everybody's thumbs were red hot today, tweeting baseball moves, and Passan indicated that the Giants were aggressively seeking a second baseman to complete their excellent infield, which could be Nico Horner of the Cubs, could be Brendan Donovan. Now that Alex Bregman has been signed and Nolan Arenado has been dealt, things are going to start happening here. We're going to start seeing some clarity at the third base and second base positions.
Yeah, and I'm glad they were able to make this deal today too for this other reason, and that was I was starting to think that there was a real possibility the Cardinals would start this season and they might have him on the roster still, which would again complicate them moving forward and giving more reps to Gorman or whoever it is they decide they want to put there, which would I think hold them back a little bit. And everything the Cardinals are doing right now feels like progress. It feels like they are attempting to move forward. They know things have not been going right over the last several years, that they haven't been doing everything as well as they could have been doing them. There seems to be some regret about that. That's why they have a new regime in charge. It's them forward. So I'm glad they were able to make this deal done. And maybe we get this Donovan deal done sooner than later. But I am happy they were able to make this move today because it does help accelerate the process of trying to get this Cardinals team back to being a competitor again.
And, Bernie, this deal doesn't get done without Arenado's approval as well. I mean, he waives the deal, and I do wish him well. I think we all do. I mean, we want him to go win a championship if he can, not at the expense of the Cardinals, of course, but I don't know that the Cardinals are going to be that hot in pursuit of a world championship in 2026. So you give the guy an opportunity, and it's a good spot for him. He's also close to his California roots, and he's in Arizona, and we wish him well.
Hitter's ballpark, good for right-handed hitters, so that'll help him out a little bit. I hope his bat speed improves because he's been working hard on that, and I think it was great to have Nolan Arenado with the Cardinals since 2021 through 2025. It was nobody's fault, certainly not John Mozeliak's fault, that Nolan Arenado entered a decline phase, age-related, a lot sooner than we thought. That just happens. You always take your chances with players. You never know. Everyone's different in terms of their aging curve. By the way, I have some. Let me just say it's informed speculation.
Okay.
About it's not a guess, it's informed speculation, or I wouldn't put it out there. If the Cardinals do not trade Brendan Donovan, he'll be the second baseman and J.J. Weatherholt to play third base. If they can't trade Brendan Donovan, then Weatherholt will be the second baseman, and Gorman most likely will get the first shot at third base. But there's also the matter of Thomas Saggese and maybe some other things that come along. But that's the initial informed speculation I can throw out there about, okay, what does this mean for the Cardinals infield in 2026?
Who did the Cardinals get in return? Again, they got Jack Martinez, an 8th-round selection by the Diamondbacks out of Arizona State. So there was some familiarity there. He only played 1 year at Arizona State, but it was really good. He throws hard, gets into the upper 90s, but from the video that I saw, his changeup was his pitch. That's the one, and you've got to have a changeup at this level. You just have to, if you're a starter, to be able to change speeds on people and keep people on their toes and off balance. According to Kevin Wheeler, just sent us a little report from what he could gather. His breaking ball needs some work, according to scouting reports, but that his changeup is good, and that's what I saw as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I just want to see what he can do. Did not play any pro ball last year. It was strictly Arizona State statistics that we were looking at. But again, 110 Ks and 77 1/3. That'll work for Jack Martinez.
And let me go back to Arenado for just a moment, because we got this question from Matt, who is watching the show on YouTube. You can watch YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. It says, so how do we remember the Nolan Arenado era with the Cardinals? 2 great years, 1 good year, 2 subpar years for I don't know how much money. Do you think it was worth it? I don't know how you could say it's not worth it. I don't think it has to end up in a championship or multiple division titles or, a pennant or whatever it is in order for it to be worth it. They took a shot. They took a shot by getting him, putting him on the same team with Paul Goldschmidt. I will never, they should never apologize for that. And I would never ask them to apologize for it, because I think that was the right thing to do, was to put those 2 guys together. Didn't work out long term, but how could you say or even question whether or not it was worth it to make that move?
I guess I missed it, that big, huge outcry of protest when they made the Arenado trade. I guess I missed that. All the people saying, oh, this was really stupid. I can't believe they did this, where they basically gave up nothing in return to get him. And then same applies to Goldschmidt. Listen, it ended disappointingly, not just with Arenado by himself, but him and Goldie. Listen, 21 and 22 were really good. The 2022 team was loaded. That was their opportunity, with Pujols coming back for that incredible season, and with Mozeliak going out and getting Jordan Montgomery and Quintana at the trade deadline. They had a great opportunity. They blew it in the playoffs. But the only negative thing I have to say, because like I mentioned, you can't predict an aging curve. You never know when a guy who gets beyond his age 30, 31 season, he's going to start to move towards the cliff offensively. There's no way to predict that. And so to blame somebody for that in retrospect is kind of cheap jack stuff, But the thing of it is, the only criticism I have, Goldie and Arenado were in the postseason with the Cardinals, 2 postseasons as teammates, 21 and 22. And there's no other way to put it. They did, as teammates, did absolutely nothing in the postseason. Arenado was 1 for 12. Goldie wasn't much better. Goldie did help the team win the NLDS in 2019, though. Look at his numbers in that series. But yeah, that's my only regret. It's not criticism. That's my regret.
And I agree with you on that, because that frustrates me at them, because that's when you're paid the big money. That's what you're paid the big money for, is to perform when it comes to the postseason. And you're right, it didn't happen. But I think, and I believe we're all in agreement on this, that taking the shot and bringing those 2 guys here, having them play together, same roster, same lineup for a while, that was the right thing to do. It just didn't work out in the playoffs, and it certainly doesn't mean you don't try that again in the future. Of course you do if you have the opportunity, because one of these days it is going to work, and you're going to acquire 2 superstars or have 2 superstars, and they're both going to perform when it comes playoff time.
Yes, both things are correct. It was a very good deal. The deal, which involved a lot of players, if I recall, it was 5 players total, plus the Cardinals did get $51 million from the Rockies, for goodness sakes. I mean, that was a steal and a half. for Arenado. Two of the biggest players in that was Austin Gomber and Eleris Montero. What you got was a cornerstone infielder, an MVP candidate, along with Goldschmidt, and you made a run at it. It's not necessarily John Mozeliak's fault that both of them watched their offensive numbers fall at the same time, and both of them failed in that playoff series against the Phillies to do something. It happened.
You cannot predict that.
No, you can't. Now, I will say this. I've been around this club a long time, so have you guys. I've never seen anyone work harder than Nolan Arenado. Never. And I think sometimes to his detriment, if you'll hear me out, I think that he got so down on himself sometimes that he wore it. And part of the game sometimes was you got to be able to take some sort of give yourself some grace. I think he took losses hard. I think he took failure hard. I think he worked extremely hard to be great. And nobody wanted to win a championship here more than Arenado did. I will give him that. He absolutely worked it hard, and for that matter, he gave the Cardinals everything he possibly could for the money that he was owed. I remember when he first became a Cardinal, I tried to get him to do a weekly hit on KMOX. He politely turned it down, saying that it would interfere with his work. Then I went to Albert Pujols, and I got him to do a weekly hit, and he did it. And I did it in front of Arenado almost every week, thinking that I could come back to Nolan. He saw that Albert did it. I went back to Nolan the next season, and he said, I can't make it work because I just feel like I would not be giving everything that I have, and I wouldn't be able to properly schedule it for you, and it interrupts my work schedule. He was a routine guy that gave everything he had. I appreciated him, and I know the Cardinals fans did, and when he comes back, he'll get a monster ovation, and he deserves it. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk more about this. And we're going to talk to Evan Drellich of The Athletic about a lot of topics, including 2027 possibility of a work stoppage, the TV deal with the Cardinals and with Major League Baseball for that matter. And we'll go right back into wall-to-wall Arenado trade coverage this entire hour. It is the Gashouse Gang on KMOX. For Bernie Miklasz, for Chris Ranji, I'm Tom Ackerman. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Presented by Purina, your pet, our passion. Now, a KMOX pioneer.
With his deep, resonant voice and flawless delivery, John McCormick became the sound that millions heard as the day came to a close. Affectionately known as the man who walks and talks at midnight, McCormick brought you a calm, dignified presence to KMOX's late night hours. A throwback to the golden age of radio announcers.
Good morning, everyone. John McCormick speaking, the man who walks and talks at midnight. From our little part of the world, the city of St. Louis, here comes 50,000 clear channel red-hot watts of the wide horizon late-night signal of radio.
Listeners across the country tuned in to hear that unmistakable voice, a steady, comforting companion whose elegance and precision helped shape KMOX's nighttime identity for generations. John McCormick, a KMOX pioneer.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business? Ah.
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more, so you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
Hello, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe. Congratulations, KMOX, on your 100th anniversary. We're so excited that you've continued to be an important fabric and part of the St. Louis area.
Thank you, Governor. With Chris Ranji, Matt Pajeski, Frank Ladd, a host of others here at Downtown Studios. Bernie Miklas is with us. I'm Tom Ackerman. It is the Gashouse Gang. Bernie's visits are sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin dealer. Nolan Arenado has been traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks along with cash considerations for pitcher Jack Martinez, a Arizona State product who has not played professional ball just yet. He was an 8th-round pick of the D-backs last season. Multiple reports on the money, and the latest that we have is that of the $42 million that he is owed, the Cardinals will be on the hook for $31 million of that. That is the latest. Bob Nightingale is doubling down on that report, saying that the Diamondbacks will pay Arenado $5 million this season, $6 million in 2027, with the Cardinals covering the rest. Mark Feinsand of MLB Network is also talking about that very dollar figure. Just want to make sure that we properly attribute this. But basically that it's the same thing, that there's some deferred money there. So it's actually a little less than 31, but whatever. It's in that neighborhood. So they're paying a good chunk of change there, Bernie, for Nolan Arenado to go to the Diamondbacks, and the moves will continue. Now, I want to go back to what you said for those who just are joining us, Bernie. Tell us what you said about where the Cardinals go from here. So how do you see third base? How do you see second base? What are you hearing?
I just want to emphasize that I'm not just sitting here by myself and saying, well, this is what I think. This is after reaching out very quickly to try to get some information about the most likely course from people, trust me, who know. So the first thought that I pass along is that if Donovan stays, he will be the second baseman and J.J. Weatherholt will be the starting third baseman. If they trade Donovan, then J.J. Weatherholt will play second, and third base probably will turn in Nolan Gorman's direction, but it's not that cut and dry. You know, he struggles against left-handed pitching. They would probably work Thomas Ajacey in there. It would be maybe an unofficial type platoon. There's a few different ways that they can go. But at the initial reaction to what is next, that's the informed speculation that I got from impeccable sources. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right, fair enough. And yeah, some people are asking, are the Rockies still paying $5 million a year? The Rockies paid the Cardinals $51 million. All right, so
yeah, at this point, I'm not trying to be Mr. Grouch as usual. At this point, what does it really matter?
Like, I don't care what the money is.
It doesn't matter. $5 million.
Does it really matter?
Is a utility infielder. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, we'll talk some money with Evan Drellich of The Athletic. Oh, man.
I can't help myself.
I know.
I can't help myself.
And speaking of money, tell me about FanDuel, Chris.
Well, here's a way, you do this for fun. This is, maybe you make a little money here or there. Maybe you make a lot. Maybe you don't. You don't know. But FanDuel right now has turned on playoff mode. Why? Well, a profit boost pack is coming your way every NFL playoff game day, and we're off to the divisional round. The four matchups have been set. The 8 teams are in, and you are going to find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app every NFL playoff game day. So you can, pick the matchups you really believe in. You can take your shot on an upset. Maybe you go with a parlay, one that you think fits the moment. You're not going to believe this, but I'm thinking the Bears over the Rams this weekend.
Do it.
Yeah. Sunday evening. Looking good to me.
What is it? Sorry to interrupt. What is it?
3.5.
3.5.
3.5 right now. Okay. And that's the Rams are the favorite. You can apply your profit boost and go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs keep going on. FanDuel.com/Missouri to get the app. FanDuel.com/Missouri. You can bet there as well. Grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here from the Dave Glover Show. So, what is my show? My show is 4 different people living 4 different lives, all coming together every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. to talk about life, actual life. Not so much headlines or did you see what Trump did today or XYZ. Never predictable because I never know what I'm going to talk about from one segment to the next. So it truly is unique and unpredictable. Join us.
104.1 FM, KMOX.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
64 degrees and cloudy in St. Louis. Might have a shower tonight and a low of 37. The weather is brought to you by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here to tell you about 213 Complex, which is available at Supplement Superstores. Look, it's the time of year to make things happen with health goals. 213 Complex will do for you what it does for me. Gets the metabolism rocking and rolling 24 hours a day, helps you fight cravings, gives you all-day focused energy with no crash that comes at the end of the day either. It's been a big help for me. It will help you. So get out to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off your 213 Complex. To get started down your path and find your location, just go to supplementsuperstores.com.
It's 2026 and it's time to get your home zero resified by calling our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 plus a free hallway, and take 15% off regularly priced services when you mention the KMOX special. ZeroResSTL.com.
It's men's Billikens basketball action Wednesday night as they face Fordham. Pre-game 6:45, tip at 7 on your home for Billikens basketball. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
The Gashouse Gang on KMOX. We've been covering the Nolan Arenado trade to the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Cardinals receiving pitcher Jack Martinez from Arizona. He is a prospect, Arizona State product. And the Cardinals sending some cash in the neighborhood of $31 million Arizona's way, covering the $42 million that he is owed. We'll get back to that coverage in just a bit. Right now, we're joined by Evan Drellich. He is with The Athletic, and I follow him closely on X because he follows the business of the game and covers it as well as anybody. Evan, it's great to be on with you. Tom Ackerman here, Bernie Miklasz, Chris Ranji, and many, many listeners hanging on your every word. How are you, Evan?
Morning, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. So let me ask you this as we sort out all of these off-season deals and everybody's moving and shaking. What is the feeling overall about 2027, at least from your perspective? What do you gather? Where do we stand right now? As I saw your latest about the possibility that the salary cap is being floated out there, maybe by the commissioner, maybe taking it back. Maybe the MLBPA is looking at it as a deal breaker. How do you feel about all of that, and what have you gathered?
Rob Manfred has been telegraphing for at least a year, if not longer, that it's likely the owners are going to push for a salary cap in this next round of bargaining. So the current contract expires after this season in December. There's probably going to be another lockout at that point. Negotiations will technically start before that. I mean, we're really only 3 or 4 months away here, probably April, May, the latest, from them starting talks about the next CBA. I don't think it's necessarily the biggest deal if the owners propose a cap. The question is, how long do they stick to that proposal? The player position historically has always been they're not going to accept the cap. And so if the owners are going to do that and then stick to it, well, that could end up meaning a very long work stoppage in 2027. That doesn't seem particularly rational to me. The one thing that's always true in everything I write covering the off-the-field world of baseball is that it's about money. And there's a lot of money that they would be missing, both sides, if they were not able to work out a deal. And Rob Manfred himself has acknowledged this at various points, including in a radio interview last week. So I think a cap proposal is coming, and the question is, how long does it last? Do the owners rally around it and say, we're gonna shut this sport down until we get a cap? Because if so, it's going to be very messy. And if not, maybe there's a deal worked out in time to play a full 162 games in 2027.
Evan, by the way, you did a fantastic job of breaking down that Rob Manfred interview on WFAN. It covered a lot of ground. You did a wonderful job of explaining it. The thing that caught my eye, and I know these are only words from Manfred, but he also emphasized that there are a lot of teams that need to spend more money, and plainly said that a salary floor, would be part of the discussion. So, in your opinion, would the players be more amenable to any type of salary cap if, in fact, the MLB owners say, well, there's also going to be a salary floor that will force teams to spend more money than they previously have? What do you think?
So this is something that I find I need to explain very often, because I think fans don't know it, and it whereas it's become obvious to me, it's not obvious to everybody else. In all the other cap systems, they come with a floor. And so when you talk about a cap in baseball, there isn't a world that exists where the cap would arrive and the floor wouldn't. And the same thing goes the other way. So half the time I hear people say, well, they don't need a cap, they need a floor. I'm talking about fans. But the reality is one could never come without the other. And obviously, even both of them coming to baseball is in question here. The reality for the players, as they look at it with a cap, is that it would hurt their position economically over time. Whatever percentage of revenue split you have. So in a cap system, you formally say, we're gonna divide up the pot of money with a certain number. Whatever number you start at, let's say the players get 55% at the start, the owners get 45%. Well, in every subsequent negotiation, the fight is the owners are saying, we want to bring that number down. The players are saying, no, we want to keep it up. And there's all sorts of other changes. The short of it is the players see the vast majority of changes that come with a cap system as being negative to them. Now, would a floor help with some of those smaller market teams? Yes, it would. One of the issues the owners have, and I think they'll be able to work it out, but is where do you set these caps and floors in your proposal? What are you as owners good with? Because it will mean raising whatever amount of money some teams at the bottom are paying right now. The Marlins, the Pirates, the Rays. What is the minimum number you can settle on that those owners are going to be okay with? And that's even before you get to the whole thing of, will the players accept this, which we know their position so far is that they won't. So, if the owners offered some exorbitant percentage to the players, or they so greatly raise the minimum salary. I mean, you have to do kind of extreme things, I think, to get this union leadership to pay attention to the offer, because the general thinking always has been this will hurt us economically over time.
Evan, could the situation be fixed without a cap or any sort of floor with a more robust revenue sharing system? Or, is that even realistic to do that in the first place?
I think the answer is yes. And I think that's the most likely outcome here. So if we assume that everybody says, you know what, let's not torpedo the entire 2027 season or even half of the season. What can we do outside of that? Well, if Rob Manfred wants to redo the sports media rights and take more control of local media rights, change potentially how the teams share TV money, what money they share generally, revenue sharing is a bargain topic. It has to go through the players, which might be counterintuitive to people. Why do the teams have to discuss with the players how they share money? And the answer is A, that's how it's been for 30 years. B, because it does affect their behavior, right? If all the money is centralized, the players would argue, well, what's the incentive for you guys to spend, right? You need to have some sort of variance in the money that comes in based on how you do, rather than you just, you buy the team and the spigot's just permanently on. I think they can find a way to do it without a cap. The very interesting thing there is, what does that look like? Because I think the conversation is different when you're talking about a cap versus not talking about a cap. Would the big market teams agree to share all of their TV money if they got a cap? Maybe. And then you say they don't have to share something else. They don't have to share as much ticket money or something else. But if they're not getting the benefit of the cap, what change are you able to make politically with your own owners if you're Rob Manfred? So I do think there's an answer out there. I don't know yet what that is. And Rob Manfred makes a lot of money, and he's got an outside law firm advising him on this stuff. And these are truly billion-dollar questions.
Evan Drellich is with us from The Athletic. While all of this is going on, we are also seeing a shift in the television packages, not only regionally, but nationally as well. Where does all of that stand? What does Rob Manfred want to do? And where, for that matter, are the Cardinals right now in terms of Main Street and negotiations?
I don't mean to be too facetious, but what Rob Manfred wants to do is make his teams money. And that has been the bottom line that they've sought at every turn here with these TV sagas. There was the current company's Main Street Sports Group. The previous version was Diamond Sports Group. Diamond Sports Group went through bankruptcy. And it was a really messy process. And a bunch of teams went back to Diamond because they looked at the offer Diamond, now Main Street, was making and said, you know what, this is still the most money we can make. That process is basically repeating itself right now. So the 9 MLB teams that are still with Main Street, which runs these FanDuel Sports Network, they've cut ties, the teams have, with FanDuel, but they can all renegotiate. They can come to some new number. And FanDuel at the end of last week made a new offer to the teams, and they have teams in the NBA and NHL as well. So we're in a waiting game right now. It's probably something I'm going to write later today. Simply, we're waiting to see whether these teams decide to go back to FanDuel, or in the case of the baseball teams, there's an easy solution of just going to MLB. MLB has taken over the broadcast of entering this year. It's right now 7 teams, and that number is probably going to rise. But when you go to MLB, you don't get a fixed number promised to you in advance. So FanDuel, and every contract it has, says, you, the Cardinals, you're going to make $40 million. Let's just throw out a number, $40 million, $50 million, whatever it is for this season. If you go to MLB, you're getting only what you sell and what you make from the streaming subscriptions you sell. It's not a promised number in advance. So my guess is some number of teams will stay with FanDuel. Some will go to MLB. The Cardinals, Derek Gould reported it accurately that they've decided to bring in their advertising efforts in-house. So they're now doing the TV ad sales. That's something that they're not outsourcing anymore. That's a story he had, I think, just a day ago, and that's accurate. So that sounds like the Cardinals are positioning themselves to go to MLB, but we'll see.
Evan, really great job. We always appreciate your work on The Athletic with our great friend Katie Wu, as well as Ken Rosenthal. And we look forward to the next piece that you write. As you indicated here, you may be writing more about the television situation. And I would strongly encourage people to subscribe to The Athletic, if anything, to read this latest on MLB trying to force players into salary cap union status as Manfred walks a tricky line. That's the headline of the analysis from Evan Drellich. Thanks for being with us, Evan. Great to have you on KMOX again.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Be well. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk more about the Nolan Arenado trade that went down just this last hour. We have been going into it, and we have more information to dig into right after we hear from Bernie Miklasz, who's sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, a Daikin dealer.
I don't know if you guys can hear me.
We'll be right back.
They're back and bringing all the hits. This is Rascal Flatts. Rascal Flatts, live at Enterprise Center January 17th. Sing along to all of their best songs. One night, one stage. All the songs you love. Tickets still available at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Welcome back to KMOX. I'm Bernie Miklasz on behalf of Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. You know, the Miklasz family's been calling Saliga for 18 years for help with our heating and cooling and some other indoor issues like air quality. And I can testify with pride that Saliga Heating and Cooling has gotten the highest marks across the board. And I'm not surprised because Saliga Heating and Cooling, the same family, has continuously owned this business since 1927. They're 100 years into this, and they continue to make their clients in St. Louis, generations of families, very, very, very happy. You can trust them. You can count on them to have excellent knowledge and the highest professional standards. They are classy in your home. They will answer all your questions. They will explain everything. They'll never try to hustle you or twist your arm or talk you into something you're not sure about. They're really a pleasure to deal with. So you don't ever want to have problems with your heating and cooling. But here's the thing. If you're going to have them, you can't do any better than call Saliga Heating and Cooling for help because they're the best that there is, and they have 100 years of track record to show it. So why don't you check out their online services, including the Priority Club, a maintenance plan program that will extend the life of your current equipment and save you money. You can find out all of that and more by going to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RAIN.
Now, back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gashouse Gang. You've landed on the right place. If you're just getting into your lunch break a little late and you're like, oh man, I missed all the Nolan Arenado talk. No, you did not.
We're right here, baby.
We're right here for you. Let's reset. It's called a reset in our business. So, Nolan Arenado has been traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks. In exchange, the Cardinals have received An 8th-round selection by the name of Jack Martinez, 6'4", 215-pound right-hander, Arizona State University, has not played pro ball yet. The Diamondbacks selected him in the 2025 draft. He pitched for the Diamondbacks in 2025. He is expected to, I would imagine, jump right into their minor league system and be pretty effective. I have not heard of any health issues whatsoever. High velocity on the fastball, good changeup, needs to work on some breaking stuff is the early scouting report on him. Cardinals have also sent a load of money Arizona's way, reportedly $31 of the $42 million that he is owed. Bernie, let's get, for those just joining us, your reaction to it. We've talked about it at length, but summarize for us your feelings here as you've been able to absorb this for about an hour.
No, I think it was inevitable, but I was like what Chris Ranji said earlier, the longer this went, the more you kind of had to deal with some pessimism whether they'd be able to pull a deal for him by spring training. So now it's done, and it's a relief, I think, to everybody, including Nolan Arenado. The Cardinals can get on with their rebuild. He can get on with his career. He goes to an organization that's closer to winning, obviously, than the Cardinals. It's close to his California home. It's in a division he's familiar with, and it's also a hitter's park. So these are all really good things for Nolan Arenado, and he will forever be appreciated in St. Louis. From the Cardinals standpoint, although they got this Jack Martinez, who was an 8th-round pick and a big, raw guy who throws hard and has a pretty high strikeout rate, he's a lottery ticket. You can't really factor what they got in return into this because it really makes no sense and it's largely irrelevant. To get on with their rebuild and to have enough flexibility to play J.J. Weatherholt at third base if they want, stay with Nolan Gorman, Thomas Saggese at third base, whatever they want to do, there was no way they were going to be able to do that unless they moved Nolan Arenado, and they did it. So therefore, it was a good day for the St. Louis Cardinals. And I know a lot of fans will miss Arenado, and we have heard from them, and I respect that. I mean, I love the fact that there are people who really, really loved having him in St. Louis, and I really appreciate having him in St. Louis. But once you enter a rebuild, all bets are off. You have to move on, and if it means clearing out veterans to make way for a new generation, well, the Cardinals have done that now 3 times this offseason with Sonny Gray going to Boston, Wilson Contreras going to Boston, and Nolan Arenado going to Arizona. So the Chaim Bloom rebuild is making great progress, and there's still more to come because what's next with Brendan Donovan? The other thing I'll throw in just for people who missed it earlier, I was able to get some questions out there, and I had some informed speculation to pass along. If Brendan Donovan stays in St. Louis, he will be the second baseman, and the plan is to have J.J. Weatherholt as the starting third baseman. If Donovan is traded, then it means Weatherholt stays at second, and the Cardinals would go at third base unless they bring someone else in. They would go with a combination of Gorman and Saggese, most likely at third base.
And, you know, what we're looking at here now, if you just take a 10,000-foot view of it, is the Cardinals infield next season, 3/4 of it's going to be new. And that is if they make the Donovan deal, they move on. You're going to have Mason Wynn coming back at shortstop, and that is pretty much it. Contreras is gone. Donovan likely gone. Arenado is already gone. So it's just sort of it's a wait and see. All right. Here's an opportunity for young or relatively inexperienced players. Have at it. And let's see what happens. Let's see what kind of 2026 you put together. I know we revisited this a little bit, but I don't remember if it was you, Bernie, or one of the listeners who talked about the 2022 postseason, which is why you have players like Arenado and you have players like Goldschmidt. And then to look back on that and see that particular postseason against the Phillies as a failure, and yes, it was, but it does not mean, as the two of them went, a combined 1 for 15 in that series. That's a big reason they lost that series. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean that you don't try to get superstar talent again. And at some point, the Cardinals are going to have that decision to make. How hard do we go after this free agent? Or do we make another trade like this and acquire a Nolan Arenado type player again in the future? And, of course, you just never be afraid to do that because you take as big a swings as you possibly can because you might end up hitting. And I love the fact they brought him here. I love the fact they brought Paul Goldschmidt here. It didn't work out, but in the future, they're going to have those decisions to make again, and hopefully they will make those decisions and be aggressive when those players are available to them. Or here's the other side of it. Maybe they grow one themselves. Maybe JJ becomes one of those kinds of players. We don't know. It might happen. Maybe Jordan Walker figures it out, and he's back to that number one overall prospect pedigree that we were expecting a couple of years ago. Maybe that happens, and it doesn't seem likely, but it could. The point is the Cardinals need stars on this roster, whether they acquire them or grow them themselves, and I hope that they are moving in that direction.
Cardinals have one more deal to announce, maybe as early as today, and that would be Ryan Stanek, which they have not officially announced yet, and part of the reason for that is he didn't have a spot on the 40-man roster. Well, he does now. Arenado's been traded, as Derek Gould points out in the Post-Dispatch. This does clear a spot on the roster for Stanek. So you can imagine that deal will probably be announced. So you have Stanek, you have Brule, Arenado traded, Gray traded, Contreras traded, and things are starting to happen here for the Cardinals. Brendan Donovan could be next on the list. Let me throw one more out here, about 2 minutes to go. Bernie, what about Lars Nootbaar? What are your feelings there on Newt? What are you hearing?
I haven't heard much. There's other than the fact that teams are interested in him, but it's kind of a wait and see, because I think one of the decisions would have to be made in terms of what they would give up for Nootbaar is basically his availability at the start of the season. And if he's not available because of the double heel surgery, when will he be available? So they're waiting to get more information on that. I wouldn't be surprised to see him moved, but I don't have any specific information. And, one thought, of course, is that you can keep, if you trade Donovan, you could keep if you trade Nootbaar, you can keep Donovan and play him in left field and have Weatherholt at second and have the Gorman Sajaci thing at third base. Donovan could also figure into third base. So there's a number of ways they could go here, depending on what they get offered for a particular player.
It'll be interesting to see what the Cardinals do here. I want to get your take on this as we say goodbye here. I'm looking at a tweet from the Arizona Diamondbacks. They got a picture of Nolan. It says, welcome to Arizona. And they say, welcome to Arizonado. How do we feel about that?
Oh,
Arizonado. Do we like it, or
I like it?
Do you?
It's a little hokey, but whatever.
Yeah,
they tried.
Right?
They took a swing.
I think it's adorable.
You get Goldie put in. And he's got Goldie he can call, be like, hey, dude,
Yeah, he knows all about.
What do you know about this place? What do you know about
this
hot. Organization?
It's 120 in August. Good luck.
I got to look up Nado's stats lifetime at that ballpark there. I bet they're pretty damn good.
I bet they are. Thanks, buddy. Have a great day. Appreciate you always. Bernie Miklasz with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman, the Gashouse Gang. Much more coverage coming up. The DGS going to have Mike Farron on to talk about
Jack that prospect.
Martinez, who he has watched closely at Arizona State. Thanks for joining us on KMOX.